Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about an archetype you see in a lot of comic books, children's cartoons, films even, and I'm calling this the Mythic Four. It's a grouping of four heroes. Oftentimes the number of heroes in a team, or main characters in a film, decides certain personality traits, it decides certain dynamics, especially for the numbers that have a mythic resonance throughout human psychology and history. A team of three is obviously going to have resonances of some sort of trinity, and that plays into certain preconceived ideas and notions. Teams of 5, 6, and 7 even have certain expectations that go along with that. The team of 4, though, is a unique number, and we see it quite often. 4 is a meaningful number throughout mythology anyway. It represents completeness, covering the entirety of a scale or a spectrum. There are 4 points to the compass, 4 winds, 4 gospels to tell the story of Christ in the Bible, 4 horsemen to achieve complete destruction in the apocalypse, 4 archangels in Islam as I understand it, and even in Christian mythology if you count Lucifer before the fall. 4 is a number of totality. In medieval times, in what their limited medical understanding was, there were 4 humors in the body that had to be balanced at any given time. There are 4 elements in Western culture, earth, wind, water, and fire, and these are far more ingrained than most people realize. Even in astrology, you're born under either an earth sign, water sign, fire sign, and so on, and that will tell you certain basic traits of your personality. And I'm not defending or attacking astrology or any of these ideas, religions, or belief systems. I'm just pointing out how ingrained and common across the board the meaning of 4 is in a lot of our belief systems and cultures and mythologies and so forth. So how does that translate into heroes? Well, when you have a team of 4, and these are 4 heroes as the main team, they can have some people along the side that assist them, some allies, some sort of mascot or a pet or whatever, but it's the 4 of them. The 4 basic heroes are the main team. Whenever you have a team like that, they're going to naturally fall into 4 distinct personalities because that's just the way we as human beings work together in our real lives, and we like to see heroes falling into these traits as well to work together. And you can describe them by the 4 elements, by the earth, wind, water, and fire. We'll look at cartoons, for example. The Ghostbusters, whether in the films or the cartoons, you have 4 major heroes, and each one falls into one of these categories. So let's go through them and define them. Earth is for grounded, constant, taking its time, considering all the options. It's grounded in our language. The Earth sign in the Ghostbusters is easily Winston. He's not the scientist. He doesn't have his head in the clouds or buried in a book. He's a real-world man with street smarts. He's often the bridge between the rest of the Ghostbusters and other people. And the team is not complete until they add him. Even though he doesn't come on until later on in the first film, they're not a complete team until they add Winston. Then everything feels collected and it just feels right. The wind, winds of change, this is the idea person, often the more intelligent one, the one that moves things along. New ideas come, bringing along new discoveries. Let's try this out and so forth. The wind in the Ghostbusters is easily Egon. Peter, Ray, and Egon are all scientists, but Egon is the hardcore one. Fire is Spitfire. Fire is the one who's changeable, the one who says whatever is on his mind. Easily Peter, right? And then finally water. Water in these teams is the emotional one, and this can either mean the heart of a team, the person who guides it, their moral compass, or it can mean a childlike one in the team, one who's easily excitable, easily upset, frightened, and so forth, and that's easily Ray in the Ghostbusters. He's the one who gets excited, he's the one who becomes terrified, he thinks of the Marshmallow Man in the film, and I believe Peter even announces him as the heart of the Ghostbusters at one point. It's sort of a throwaway joke line, but it fits with this Mythic Four archetype. So that's the Ghostbusters, and that bears out throughout the cartoon as well as the films. Take another cartoon, for example, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this can play out in various films and incarnations, but look at that original cartoon. The Earth hero is Leonardo. He's the leader. He's the one who keeps them grounded. He's the one who takes some time to reflect and make the decisions, leads them in the right direction. The wind, the idea man, this is Donatello. This is the inventor, the one who creates new ideas, creates new equipment for them to use and so forth. Fire, the Spitfire, the one who doesn't think before doing, that's Michelangelo, easily. And Raphael is the water. Raphael is the brooder. He's the one who's angered easily. He's the one who is more apt to act out of emotion. That's the water hero, Raphael. In comic books, the most famous team of four is the Fantastic Four. You have Sue Storm, the Invisible Girl, as the Earth sign. I know a lot of people might think of her as the heart of the group, but especially in those early comic books, she was the one who wasn't so given to an emotional response. She was the one who would calm things down, especially between the Thing and Human Torch, and convince everyone to look at it calmly and rationally. Wind, the tech person, the smarts, the idea person, Mr. Fantastic, obviously. Fire, this plays very easily into Johnny Storm. He's the Spitfire. He's the one who flies off and does things half-cocked and so forth. And then the Thing, you might think the Thing was the Earth sign because he's made of rocks, but that doesn't actually play out in the way that he acts. In his psychological contributions to the team, he's the emotional one. Again, he's the brooder. He's the one given to fits of depression about his physical form and internal morose and easily excitable by Johnny Storm and all of their spats and whatnot. You can keep going on. You can pick so many teams of four. In television, there's the A-Team. Even more recently, there was the group of heroes on Fringe. For any sci-fi fans in my audience, Stargate SG1. I love the Stargate series. The original film, the SG1 series, Atlantis after it. I'm not really a fan of Universe, but 4 was the basic number of all of those teams for the longest time. Eventually they played with some different numbers, but 4 was the basic team of heroes for the longest time. And you look at the team of SG1, Teal'c is the one who's grounded. He's not excitable. He's going to calmly, rationally think about things, mostly. So he's the Earth sign. Carter is the idea person. She's the one, the tech specialist with all the science and ideas. She's the wind. O'Neill is fire. He's the one who will say whatever's on his mind and spit forward. Even though he's the leader, sometimes you can have the leader be the fire sign there. And then finally, Daniel Jackson was the heart of the team. He was water. He was the one interested in the human element and the human impact in all these worlds that he would go to. So we could keep going on and on and on with different examples, but I think you get the point by now. It's interesting, though, that even in teams of 5, 6, and so on, quite often 4 members will rise to the forefront, and they will be the ones that are the most notable, or the ones that have the most missions together and so forth. You see this with the most iconic lineup of the Avengers. You see Cap, Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor rise to the top. In the Justice League, you can see various numbers rising to the top. Sometimes you see the Trinity, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, but if you do see the 4 of them, the Flash usually works his way in there because you need that trickster, you need that fire sign in there to round it all out. So it's a common division of characters. I think we even see this in marketing. I think this is why certain bands were more marketable than others. This certainly plays into the Beatles' great success. Not that it's the totality of it, of course, their music and the time and the influences and so forth. But this is one reason why the Beatles were infinitely more marketable than a group like the Beach Boys. Just as talented, just as influential and important in musical history, but they had more than 4 members, and it was harder for people to wrap their head around that on the screen at the same time, and to see the dynamic and the interplay between them. 4 is a significant number, and it's one to consider when you're thinking about writing your own stories or following characters from different films. Even in shows or films that have a large cast, they'll often have 4 members together group up in a certain episode. So the Mythic Four, look for that formula in comics, films, cartoons. Let me know what other examples you can think of, either of just the division of 4, or if you want to go through and say who's the fire, water, earth, and wind signs in the team. I'd love to hear that as well. One of these days, if this video is received well, I'll come back and talk about the Trinity of the 3. I'll talk about the significance of a 5, 6, and 7 even, in terms of teams. But that will be for another day. I'll be back tomorrow with something else new. Until then, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the heroic stories you love. Thanks for watching.